In May 1789, the French King Louis XVI called together the Estates General, a representative body that hadn't met in 175 years, because France was broke. Decades of war, most recently the expensive support of the American Revolution, had left the treasury empty. The obvious solution was to tax the nobility, who had been largely exempt from taxation. The nobility refused. What began as a financial crisis rapidly became something far more dangerous, a question about who held legitimate authority in France. The answer, arrived at over the next 10 years of revolution, terror, and war, would change the entire world. The Tennis Court Oath of June 1789 was the moment the revolution became real. Representatives of the Third Estate, everyone who wasn't clergy or nobility, found themselves locked out of their meeting hall. They gathered at a nearby indoor tennis court and swore not to disband until France had a written constitution. It was an act of defiance against a king who ruled by divine right, and it was the moment ordinary people declared that political authority came from the nation, not from God's anointed monarch. 3 weeks later, on July 14, 1789, a Paris mob stormed the Bastille prison, freeing exactly 7 prisoners, but seizing gunpowder and symbolically destroying a monument to royal tyranny. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, issued in August 1789, laid out principles that would reverberate through history: liberty, equality, property, security, and resistance to oppression as natural rights. Yet the revolution's ideals almost immediately collided with its realities. France was surrounded by hostile monarchies who feared the revolutionary contagion. Internally, the country was riven by regional loyalties, religious divisions, and class conflicts. The constitutional monarchy attempted between 1789 and 1792 satisfied almost no one. Radicals wanted to abolish the monarchy entirely, conservatives wanted to restore the old order, foreign powers invaded to restore Louis XVI. The moderate middle was squeezed into irrelevance. The Reign of Terror, from September 1793 to July 1794, was the revolution devouring itself. Led by Maximilien Robespierre and the Committee of Public Safety, the revolutionary government executed approximately 17,000 people officially, with another 40,000 dying in prison or summary executions. The guillotine, originally promoted as a humane and egalitarian method of execution, became the symbol of a government that killed its own citizens by the cartload. Marie Antoinette was executed in October 1793. Thousands of priests, aristocrats, and ordinary citizens who had simply said the wrong thing were sent to the blade. Robespierre himself was arrested and guillotined in July 1794, the terror ending only when it finally consumed its own architect. The revolution's most durable achievement was not in France but in the armies it unleashed on Europe. The revolutionary ideal of the citizen soldier, fighting not for a king's pay but for the nation, for liberty, for the revolution itself, created military forces of unprecedented size and motivation. These were mass conscript armies, millions of men strong, animated by ideological fervor. They swept across Europe with terrifying efficiency, dismantling old regimes and spreading revolutionary principles everywhere they marched. From this revolutionary crucible emerged a young artillery officer named Napoleon Bonaparte, who channeled the revolution's energy into personal empire while preserving its legal achievements and the Napoleonic Code. The French Revolution's legacy is impossible to overstate. It established the template for modern politics. Left versus right originates from where delegates sat in the Revolutionary National Assembly. It proved that popular sovereignty could topple apparently permanent institutions. It introduced mass politics, political parties, and the idea that ordinary people had a right to participate in government. It also demonstrated how quickly liberation can curdle into terror, how revolutionary ideals can be hijacked by demagogues, and how the pursuit of perfect equality can produce horrifying violence. Every revolution that followed 1848, 1917, 1949 consciously echoed the French original, learning from both its glories and its catastrophic mistakes.